Hey guys! I'm going to read chapter 6 of The Secret School. So when we finished up earlier, we found out that Ida talked to all the other kids in school, and everyone agrees that Ida can be their teacher. So now let's see how that turns out for them. Chapter 6. Have to get to school half an hour earlier tomorrow, Ida announced at supper table. How's that? Her father asked between mouthfuls of bean and lamb stew. The new teacher starts, Ida said softly. Flex stared at his sister. Miss Bison, who had been attending the baby on her lap, looked up at Ida sharply. That school board's been quick at getting a replacement for Miss Fletcher, said Mr. Bison. How did you know? Ida asked faintly. Your ma told me about Miss Fletcher leaving, her father explained. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Miss Bison reached out and touched Ida's hand. Honey, don't you want to say more? Mr. Bison looked up and gazed around the somber faces. Am I missing something? He asked. Pa, Ida whispered. I'm the new teacher. Her father stared at her for a moment as if not understanding. He turned to his wife and then back to Ida. Putting down his fork, he said, Better say that again. Ida gripped the edge of the table with both hands and then said, I'm Mrs. Fletcher's replacement. Only nobody knows, Flex piped in. Mr. Bison sat back and used his napkin to wipe his lips. Ida Bison, he said, I'd sure be pleased to hear some more about this. Ida gave a pleading look to her mother, who responded with a tiny nod of encouragement. Well, Ida began and gave a quick summary of what happened at school, how her being the replacement teacher meant that she and Tom could take their final exams. It being the only way that they could move on, and that this arrangement was agreed on by each of the children. I knew women got the vote, Mr. Bison said with a slight smile. But did that go for kids too? We did vote, Flex said proudly. Me too. Ida looked across at her father. Is that okay with you? The school board, with Mr. Jordan, gave you all this permission? Ida stole another look at her mother. This time, Mrs. Bison gave no response. Pa, Ida pleaded. He doesn't even think girls should go to high school. Mr. Bison made a dismissive wave of his hand. Old Jordan's noting of progress is too close to his eyes and a step back to the 1825. Pa, said Ida, we're not even telling him. It's a secret school, Flex announces. Mr. Bison, a flicker of a smile hovering over his lips, looked around at his wife. Then he grinned. Kids, you have as much chance of keeping secrets in this village as you do growing oranges. But see here, Ida, my love, I won't quarrel none. I'm gonna have to say something, though. The farm comes first, before any high school. Ida swallowed hard. I understand. Mr. Bison nodded. All right, then, he said. Give it a try. I wish you luck. But it has to be a secret, Ida reminded him. Her father laughed. Won't even tell the sheep. The next morning, Ida got up at 4:30, milked the cow, mucked the stall, spread grain out for the chickens. After a hasty breakfast, she pinned up her hair. She and Flex got to school early. It's cold, Flex complained as he slid out of the car. Ida yawned. Let's fetch some wood. We'll light the stove. While Flex was loading up his arms with wood from the wood pile behind the school, Ida rolled a large log under the window. Then she stood on the log and crawled through the window. Once inside, she stood quietly and looked all around her. The one-room building seemed larger than usual. Did you catch that? She had to roll a log underneath the window to climb into the building. They don't have a key, so they're really not supposed to be in there. Ida started towards the back row bench. Catching herself, she moved to the teacher's desk. When she reached it, she stopped and touched the cool wooden surface. A chill went through her body. Taking off her coat, Ida automatically moved towards the girl's wardrobe, only to catch herself again. She made herself use the teacher's hook. Then she had to force herself to sit in the teacher's chair. Once seated, she summoned up her will and gazed at the empty rows of desks before her. I'm 14 years old and a dumb Dobra, she whispered out loud. There was a knock on the door. Stomach queasy and holding her breath, Ida opened the door. It was only Flex. Hey, Ida, he cried. What took you so long? Give me a hand. He staggered in under the load of wood. Flex, she replied, trying to control her voice. Though I am still your sister, and you may call me Ida at home. In school, henceforth, I'm your teacher, and you must call me Miss Bison. She took a few of the logs out of his arms. Flex dropped the remaining wood in the wood box. He said, That mean you're gonna talk like the teacher too? The proper words are going to. Flex glared at her and then escaped outside. At 8:30, though Ida wasn't too sure of the time because she belatedly realized that unlike Miss Fletcher, she did not have a pocket watch. She removed the school flag from the bottom drawer of the desk and went to the door and pulled the cord to ring the bell. The class gathered around the flagpole and raised the frayed flag. Then all 7 children stormed inside. They were acting, Ida immediately realized, louder and more obnoxious than when Miss Fletcher had been there. Increasingly unsure of herself, Ida went to her desk at the front of the room. The school became quiet. Everyone was staring at her. Good morning, class, Ida said. Good morning, Ida, Herbert shouted. Feeling herself go red, Ida snapped, Herbert, I'll ask you to remember that my name is Miss Bison. Oh, yeah, he said. Yes. Now, again, good morning, students, Ida said. Good morning, Miss Bison. Struggling not to panic, Ida tried desperately to remember all of Miss Fletcher and the other previous teachers had done to start their day. She must act, she told herself, as if she were in complete control. She only hoped that her dress would hide the shaking legs. Suddenly she remembered, sing! That's what they always do. That's how it always begins. She cleared her throat. As usual, she said, hoping that she sounded confident, we will begin the day with a song. Susie Spool, please lead us as you normally do. The children stood, and Susie came to the spot in the front of the room and began singing Amazing Grace. Her clear, firm voice filled the entire room, soothing Ida and giving her time to think. On the second verse, the other children joined in. Eyes closed, Ida sang along with all of her heart. By the time the song was finished, Ida had regained sufficiently calm to say, Thank you, Susie, for your lovely rendition. You may take your seat. As Susie did so, Ida took a deep breath. She was feeling much better. Today, she said, we shall begin as we always do. Mary and Flex will read for me from their parameters. Tom, you study your mathematics, then assist Susie with hers. Natasha, you need to work on your geometry. Charlie, you'll phrase the opening paragraph of The Way to Be Happy. Page 159 of your reader. To Ida's astonishment, the children reached for their books. Then across from the room, Herbert called, What about me? Herbert, you'll need to read your history. I'd sure like to see you make me. the boy said, a great grin on his face. The room became deathly still. I wonder what's going to happen. Do you think Ida's going to make him read his chapter? We'll have to see tomorrow. Bye.